Want to know the biggest myth in the American car world? That old engines are primitive and modern engines are better at everything. Wrong, dead wrong. And today you're going to understand why your grandfather's engine probably lasted longer than anything that's rolled off a dealership lot in the past 10 years. If you've got a car with less than 60,000 miles on it and you've already dropped over $2,000 in repairs, is Shiki around? What you're about to find out will completely change the way you look at your engine. Before we get into it, if you're into honest talk about cars and you're sick of channels pushing miracle products, hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and drop a like. It's free and it helps a ton. Now let's go. Picture this, 1988. Your grandfather leaves work in Detroit, hops on I-75, and drives down to visit family in Tennessee. No GPS, no AC, no driver assistência. The engine hums, not a single warning light on the dash. That old Chevy C pickup ran over 200,000 miles on its original engine. No rebuild, no crankshaft swap, nothing. Now compare that to today. People buy a brand new car, drive it 2 years, and they've already got turbo issues. Bad sensors, solenoid valves, failing injection module errors. 40 Mayas. How is that even possible? The answer is going to make you angry, and that's exactly what we're unpacking here. Old engines were designed with a completely different philosophy. Back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, engineers were thinking about how long that engine would last in the real world. Real world in America means dirt roads in rural Texas, mountain climbs in Colorado, stop-and-go traffic in Houston at 100 degrees, questionable fuel from a back road gas station, and a local mechanic with a wrench set and a prayer. To survive all of that, they used what engineers call over-engineering. Thicker connecting rods, heavier pistons forged, crankshafts, thick cast iron blocks, a massive safety margin. It was nearly impossible to kill those engines under normal use. They lasted. Man, did they last, and the tolerances between parts were wider. That might sound like a flaw, but it was actually an advantage. Oil reached everywhere. Thermal expansion was absorbed without stress, and the engine accepted less refined lubricants without complaint. That simple, conventional oil everyone used back then worked perfectly. Today, many modern engines require a specific synthetic with an exact spec on an exact interval. Miss it by 500 miles and you can damage the turbo. That's straight out of the owner's manual. And speaking of manuals, some modern engines come with a stated lifespan of 150,000 miles. 150 millas. Your grandfather would have called that a warm-up lap. The Chevy 350 small block V8, which powered everything from the Camaro to the Silverado to the Suburban, routinely crossed 300,000 miles with basic maintenance, oil changes, filters, plugs, timing set on schedule, and the engine simply would not die. There are documented cases of 350s with over 500,000 miles without a rebuild. That's not legend. It's fact. Head over to any classic truck forum and ask around. You'll be shocked. Stick around, because in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you a secret that car dealerships hate being said out loud. But first, drop in the comments, what's the most bulletproof engine you've ever seen? What car just refused to die? I want to read every single one. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Planned obsolescence. That's when a product is intentionally designed to fail within a limited time, forcing you to spend more. In the auto industry, it shows up in material choices, part sizing, interconnected electronics, and especially in components that are designed to be replaced, not repaired. Why does a modern engine use thinner aluminum where cast iron used to be? Aluminum is lighter, saves fuel, true, but it wears faster under harsh conditions. And who pays that price? You, at the dealership, on a payment plan stretched to 72 months. And here's what's even more infuriating. Back in the day, parts were standardized across models within the same brand. An alternator from a Chevy truck would fit another Chevy. That made parts cheap and easy to find at any auto parts store. Today, a Ford F-150 and a Ford Explorer share barely any components, even with similar engines. Every car has its own specific parts, its own codes, its own prices, You're held hostage by the dealership. The neighborhood mechanic who used to fix everything now needs a diagnostic scanner that costs $10,000 just to find the problem. And the part usually only exists at the dealership, marked up 300% over fair price. If a parts price from a modern car has ever made your jaw drop it in the comments. This needs to be out in the open. And if this video is making sense, share it with that buddy who's thinking about trading in their car. Another point most people miss is the operating RPM range. Engines from the 70s and 80s ran at much lower revs. The International DT466 used medium-duty trucks and school buses across America ran comfortably between 1,000 and 2,200 RPM most of the time. Less speedy, less friction, less heat, less wheel. That's basic physics. A popular economy hatchback with a 1.0 engine today has to spin much higher to deliver the performance people expect. Smaller engine, better fuel economy, but one that wears out faster. It's a trade-off you're making without even realizing it. And I'm not saying every modern engine is garbage. The Toyota 2G RFA 3.5-liter V6 found in the Tacoma Tundra and 4Runner handles anything America's roads can throw at it. The Cummins 6.7 diesel in the Ram 2500 is another example of modern reliability. But notice, the most durable modern engines are almost always diesel, almost always in expensive trucks, and they demand a maintenance discipline that most average car owners can't afford to keep up with. An engine that could last forever ends up dying young because proper maintenance is just too expensive for most American families. Drop it below did. You know, about this difference between diesel and gasoline engines when it comes to durability? Leave your comment. And while you're at it, hit that like and subscribe. Without engagement, the algorithm won't spread this. Let's talk about what maintenance actually costs. Not just the car payment. It's the mandatory dealer service that runs $600 just so you don't void the warranty. It's a timing kit job on a modern car that runs $900 including labor, while the same job on an old small block V8 was $150 at any shop. It's the high-pressure direct injection pump that fails at 80,000 miles and the part costs $2,500. How is Ampus? Google any car forum in America and you'll find dozens of identical stories. A well-maintained classic truck with a simple V8 will cost you far less per mile than a modern economy car with a tiny turbocharged 3-cylinder. That's not a guess. It's math. Add up the services, the parts, the electronics repairs, and compare it to changing oil every 5,000 miles on a 350 small block. The difference will knock your socks off. Do you know someone who still drives Año 80 90s car with zero issues? Or maybe you've got a modern one that turned into a nightmare. Tell us in the comments. Now, the example that closes this argument for good, the Mercedes-Benz OM617. A diesel engine with mechanical injection. No computer, no complex electronics, cast iron block. It powered the W123 and W126 series. In America, in Africa, across the world, these cars became taxis, police vehicles, school shuttles, and many of them crossed 1 million miles on the original engine. That's not an isolated record. It was common practice because the mechanics were simple, parts were cheap, and any competent mechanic could work on them. Can you imagine any modern economy car hitting 1 million miles today? Getting to 300,000 is already a feat. And we're talking about a Corolla, which is already out of reach financially for a huge chunk of American households. And here's a question I hear a lot. Can't you build an engine like that today, adapted to modern emission standards? You absolutely can. Take the robustness of a cast iron block, the over-engineering, the simplicity and add a modern catalytic converter, efficient electronic fuel injection, a particulate filter, an engine that pollutes less than the original and lasts far longer than what's on the market now. But nobody does it. Why? Because it's not profitable. An engine that lasts 30 years generates no service revenue and creates no dependency on proprietary parts. That business model doesn't work for the industry as it's currently built. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. And tell me, what's been your biggest disappointment with a modern car? Electric vehicles are changing part of this conversation. An electric motor has no pistons, crankshafts, connecting rods, timing belts, or oil pumps. Mechanically much simpler, far fewer things to break. But the Achilles heel is the battery pack. In America, with high EV prices, charging infrastructure is still sparse outside major metro areas, and no real solution for battery disposal, it's still not an option for everyone. The middle ground is hybrids, combining electric in the city and combustion for longer trips. The best hybrids use reliable combustion engines, because if one side fails, the car still moves. The manufacturer is forced to make both sides solid, but it's still too expensive for most American families. So, while we wait for that answer, what can you do right now to protect your engine? Oil changes are the single most important thing. On schedule. No delays. For modern gasoline engines, every 5,000 miles is the maximum. With Aterbu, sometimes less. Read your owner's manual. Seriously, read it. Change your coolant at the specified interval. Never run straight water. Instead, air filter, oil filter, and fuel filter are cheap parts that make a massive difference. Don't cut corners on filters. Replace spark plugs on schedule. And when you start your car, wait about 30 seconds before pulling out. A cold engine with oil sitting at rest is an engine that's already taking damage. Bonus tip, most people never mention. Avoid mystery brand parts. Napa, Actelco, Bosch, Gates, and Myhel have been trusted by American mechanics for decades because they deliver. A cheap knockoff part on a critical system can be the difference between a routine preventive job and an engine rebuild that costs you thousands. In this country, a car isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. It's what gets the working man out the door at 5 a.m., what the family relies on to get to the grocery store, the doctor's office, and grandma's house on Sunday. In America, a car is a tool for life. When the industry builds engines that don't last, that cost a fortune to maintain, and that depend on rare proprietary parts, it's not just hitting your wallet. It's affecting the quality of life for entire families. That's why this conversation matters. That's why this video is worth sharing. If you made it to the end, drop the word maintenance in the comments. That's how I know who stuck it out and actually values real content. The like and the subscribe are the fuel that keeps this engine running. Without them, we stall on the side of the road, and this channel wasn't built to stall. See you in the next one.